Shawn Michaels, we have questions. We have lots of questions. And that's the best way I can describe how I felt after NXT went off the air this week. But before we get into all that, hi all you Iconics wrestling nerds out there, and welcome to another edition of Los Chicos Gordos, your weekly WWE NXT review show. This time, myself and my lovely co-host Will are here to review NXT for Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. I don't even know where to begin because there was a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of puzzle pieces that I don't see fitting somewhere. And then there were moments I was just like, why are we doing this? I don't know.
There's a lot of I don't know if this is like a normal thing, like as it gets closer to the end of the year, does everybody just go stupid? I mean, it feels like NXT was on such a great, they're on the tracks, they were going forward, the stories were great, the rivalries were cooking, everything was just going, and then all of a sudden it's like they went off the freaking rails.
I mean,
what the hell's going on?
Specifically, we'll talk about how things are going off the rails in our main championship picture because I was perplexed and puzzled by the end of the show, and I don't know where I don't say this that often, but I don't know where we're going with this, and I'm a little bit worried, but we're gonna save that for when we get to it, because we opened up NXT this week in a very quick match, and I wanted more of it between Tiffany and Fallon. I was like, their animosity towards each other is still happening. Now, upon initial watching this, I was a little upset of how short this match was, but then everything that happened afterwards, I was like, okay, I'm not as mad anymore, especially since it seems like we're not done with these two, which I'm here for it. The match itself, I thought was a lot of fun. I was surprised to see Fallon pick up the victory in a quick manner that she did.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool. Sure.
I know. I mean, but you know what? The funny thing is we're going to see a lot of that throughout the night. That's sort of like, oh, okay. Well, I guess we're moving on to the next thing. It's like, because this match was so short. It's and I'm just like, especially and I get the whole backstage stuff was great. Obviously, the Tiffany going ballistic was fantastic and all that. But I feel that the match could have gone on a little bit longer, especially considering the rivalry these two have. I just felt that it was so fast that Fallon got Tiffany like so quickly. I just was like, I don't know. There was, again, all the stuff that happened after it was totally worth it, but I was just like, this doesn't, I don't know. At first I was like, okay, the match was starting off great. It was fun, and anytime, Tiffany is out fighting whomever, it's just fun to watch because it's just hilarious. But I was just like, these two are like bitter enemies, like it's sort of like nemesis, and then it was so like, oh yeah, we're gonna fight, and then it was starting off great, and then suddenly it was over, and I was just like, wait, whoa, wait a minute, no, I want to see more of this. I want to see more of the fighting. I love the backstage antics. I love the trashing, literally in this sort of instance. But I really want them to focus on the fighting more. I really want to see these two women have a true, full-length, like, knockout and drag-out fight. Wanted. Damn it. Wanted. But no, I did. I enjoyed the fight. I agree with you. I was a little surprised that Fallon, well, I wasn't surprised that she won, but I was surprised she won so quickly.
Right.
I was just like, oh. Okay. It felt to me like, okay, ladies, do it quickly because we've got more important things to do. really how it kind of felt. And I was just like, but they're great. Let them fight.
Give them more time.
Yes. But you're right. Then we did get all that amazing after fight stuff, which was fantastic.
Right, so
mop over the floor with her.
Exactly. So Fallon picks up the victory, and Tiffany's not having it. She literally drags Fallon up and down the ring, takes her backstage, and then we end it with her beating her up backstage and just throwing a bunch of trash on her from a trash can. I was like, that's rude, but I'm kind of here for it. And it makes perfect sense for Tiffany's character that she would do something like that. And we'll talk more about Tiffany because in her promo later, I was just like, ooh, we're double downing on this. This is messy, but I'm here for it. Because I'm like, NXT, we need to be careful how we approach this because there are some lines and some language that was being used tonight. I was just like, who didn't fact check their writers? Like, there was just a lot of things that I was wondering. NXT, did someone proofread these because there's a lot of stuff. One of those things being, as soon as we get the garbage thrown on Fallon, we immediately jump backstage to Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. Now, I was on Trick's side for this first part because then he did a 180 later in the show that made absolutely no damn sense to me. But in this backstage segment, Trick Williams is getting ready and he's really excited for his match against Ilya at New Year's Evil in 2 weeks. And Carmelo is trying to convince Trick, hey man, me and you are on the same page. You got to get even with Ilya. So let's make that match a triple threat. So therefore, Ilya's going to lose that title. And I have never applauded Trick more than I did when he said, and why would I do that?
Oh, I know.
I was just like, yes, Trick. I was like, oh, finally. And he stood up to Carmelo too. He's like, listen, man, you won all your championship matches on your own, and I gotta do it my way by myself as well. So I got to finish I got a score to settle with Ilya, so I gotta do this. And I was like, baby Trick, thank you so much. I was like, I've never been more proud of you. And then I rescinded that when we get to it later, but we'll get to it later. But in this moment, I was really proud of him. I was so happy.
Oh, I was too. This was a good scene. This was good. I was like, okay. Yeah, and then later.
There was just a lot of things that I had questions about. Just like this in-ring promo. Ilya is speaking and I was on board and I was here for it. And then all of a sudden a wild Ridge Holland appeared. And Ridge tells Ilya in the audience that, first of all, he's back in NXT, but he also feels like he's lost his way. And he wants an opportunity to fight Ilya to figure out what direction he needs to go. I was just like,
what?
Yep.
And it's really funny because I didn't recognize him. That was why I sent you that text.
You're like, who the F is this
I was like,
dude?
Who the F is this dude? And you're like, hey, that's Ridge.
I was like, that's Ridge.
I'm like, no, it's not. Because he's way cleaner looking than he was when we saw him
last, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no way. So I literally had to Google search images just to make sure that I wasn't crazy. And I was like, no, okay, it was him. All right, fair enough. I was just like, where the hell did this come from? I mean, seriously, it's like, it's like random, someone's backstage going, hey guys, pick a card, any card. Oh look, okay, you go and do whatever the hell that was. It's just like, I mean, I get Holland's back at NXT and that's great because I think he's pretty good. I think, what I saw of him, I think he's cool. And, when I've seen him in with the tag team stuff, but why this? Why here? This doesn't make any sense. Of course, I guess it doesn't have to because whoever the hell was writing this crap is like, oh, I know what's going on. Okay, that's fair, but I don't understand why you would even. I don't understand. And when we get into that late at the end, I don't get any of that. So
No.
anyway.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in depth because I don't understand either. And then, so I don't know if NXT is gonna make this a thing. I kind of like this, so we kind of shoot quickly backstage with Lexus King walking in. But I have dubbed this as a walk-in segment because he walks and he talks as he's before we go to commercial break. I was like, I don't like the character, but if this is something we're gonna be doing from here on out for this, I'm kind of here for people talking before we get there. I was just like, that's kind of cool. I like that bit.
I kind of like that too.
I was like, I don't like Lexus King's character, but I like the walk and talk bits before we go to commercial break and matches. I'm like, give me more of that. I'm here for it.
It's not so static. When they're just standing backstage, it's so static and sort of stagnant, actually.
When they're walking down to the ring too from backstage, I was like, oh, so we're not going to address the camera? Okay, sure.
Okay. But no, if they keep doing this, I'm here for this.
Right. Which then...
For sure.
Yep, which then leads, after we come back for commercial break, to our first of 2 NXT Men's Breakout Tournament matches of the night. This one sees Lexus King taking on Dion Lennox. And, I mean, before we get into the match between Dion and Lexus, Will messaged me, is just like, so Dion, I was just like, right? I was like, the $1 million smile, man.
Yeah, he's sexy.
I was just like...
He is sexy. I mean, he's not really my type, but he was pretty sexy. I have to give it to him.
As soon as I was watching this, I was like, wondering if Will is going to message me something about this. And sure enough, I knew you like I know the back of my hand. I was like, yep, there we go. I thought this match was actually pretty phenomenal. I enjoyed it for what it was.
Pretty good.
I was just like, I got to see more of Lexus do better, which is really bad to say, but I was like, Lexus did pretty okay. Dion did awesome. Now, the match itself, it is what it is. I figured Lexus was going to win, and he did. More important thing is what happened after.
Yes, because I'm still pissed.
I figured you were.
I'm still pissed. And okay, here's something. Okay, I was like, this is how angry I was. I actually went on and did searches and research, and I was like, why did this happen? Why did they pick this? And all of them said, and this sort of irritated the crap out of me, is that Trey Bearhill was the closest person to his entrance. And I'm like, that's bullshit. He was not the closest person to Lexus's entrance. Because I sent you a picture of that, and I circled who was the closest person to his entrance, and he went right past him and went right to Trey Bearhill. And I was like, what the F is that all about? And so I'm still angry about it. Still. And yes, what happened at the end was wonderful, but it wasn't enough. It was not enough. I want more, and I hope to God we're going to get it, because if we don't, I'm going to be so angry, because I want Trey Bearhill to kick his ass. Like, seriously. When he came in with that chair, I was like, please hit him. But of course not. Lexus King runs away like a scared little bitch. And, and stands off and is like, oh, we could do, yeah. And then when Trey was all like, get in the ring, he's like, well, what? You haven't earned this, that, and the other. I'm like, bitch, you've been here for 3 seconds. What the hell you got? Shut the hell up. Oh my God, I was so angry. So mad. I'm so mad.
I love when we get Spicy Will on here. It makes my night so much fun.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll stop.
No, don't.
Because I could go on forever about this. I'm so pissed off.
Listen, Will, you never have to apologize for going off, because we love the NXT kids. We love watching NXT. We love reviewing it, and we have the right to appreciate and praise, but also critique and yell at the things that have come across. Sir, welcome to being a wrestling fan in 2023. Like, welcome back to the fold.
Yeah, but I wish to be a gentleman critiquer.
Sir, you are on the wrong YouTube channel for all that. I was just like, here we let our opinions fly faster than, I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah, so we let our opinions fly, and we never back down, but we do it in a very respectful way. Check out the Ring of Honor review, because I kind of was on a lonely island defending myself against my co-hosts about why they're wrong, but we did it in a respectful way, and so you are allowed to have your feelings, because I was perturbed about it last week too. I'm excited if this means that Trey gets to beat Lexus King up at some point, or even cost him one of the Breakout tournament matches, which was really, really fun.
I'd be okay with that too.
Speaking of things that I'm really okay with, Eddy Thorpe. Hi. I'm gonna take a moment.
This gave me chills.
Yes, this promo was everything. And I remember us talking about this last week. We're just like, I hope whatever we're getting between Eddy and Dijak, I just want you to make me excited about it, make me invested, make me care. I was like, this next chapter, I was like, I hope we move on from this. And this little segment from both of them, actually, throughout the, like, what we get from Dijak later, but specifically talking about Eddy in this moment, I was just like, please push this man in 2024. Let's push this man, because this was an awesome video package of recapping everything Eddy has done, not just with Dijak, but just in NXT in general this year.
Growth, yeah.
And his growth, his journey so far, and I loved it. And ultimately, this leads into Eddy Thorpe calling out Dijak, saying next week, no ropes, no anything. Let's have an NXT Underground match. And I was just like, oh, hell yes. I am so ready for this match next week.
Oh my god, me too. Literally, I was watching this going, oh, what is this? And I was like watching, and I was like, holy crap. I was like, it all came down to this. And all I have to say is if Eddy Thorpe does not walk out of this a winner, I quit. I quit. Like, legitimately. I quit.
Me and Will will walk away. We're not coming back. The show is over.
You cannot do that. I will be so mad. I truly will be so mad. And like, oh my god, because yeah, this promo got me hyped for this fight. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
I'm so ready for this NXT Underground match, and this got me hyped, and I was like, all right. I wasn't sure how this episode was gonna go, but I was like, all right, we're starting to get there. And then the next match even made it better, because we jump into our tag team match. JCJ and Thea Hale taking on the team of Kiana James and Izzy Dame. This match was so much fun, and I'm going to kind of echo the sentiment that Will sent me in his message during this match. JC has come such a long way, and she's a fantastic wrestler, and she's improved so much. And honestly, being paired with Thea has been one of my highlights the last couple months that we've had this team, and now they're wrestling together. I really thought all four of these women did an excellent job. This was a really fun match, and this was just great. I love seeing JC go from being hated after the split of Toxic Attraction and being a heel to kind of being a weird baby face in all this, which I love to see.
Yeah, this was, man, this was a good fight. I liked this match. I really did, because I've never seen JC wrestle like this. I was just like, wow. That's why I sent you the message. I was like, dang, JC's good. And I thought her and Thea worked well together. I really do. I love them together. I love them together. Even at the end of the match, when we have that one moment of the two of them down on the floor, I was like, look at that. That is so great. That is so great. of course, this whole oh crap, what's his name that was up in the stands? Riley Osborne. The whole distraction with Riley Osborne thing. I'm just like, okay, all right, yeah, focus. Focus.
I was like, you can jump his bones later. We got a match.
Exactly. Do it after the match. Get all worked up in the match, and then you can do that later.
Yes. Spend all that energy later after you win, but you gotta focus. And unfortunately, that was the downfall for this because Kiana and Izzy ended up picking up the victory here. But honestly, I actually was okay with this if this means we continue this. And again, leading from what happened last week into this match, I can watch these 4 women wrestle for a lot. And again, the things that were great about this episode all came from the women's division because and then this led after this match was over and Kiana and Izzy are celebrating the win. We jump backstage with the rest of the women's locker room watching this match. And, one of the other girls is like, gotta give it to Kiana and Izzy. They kind of did that. Roxanne comes to the frame. She's like, oh, I'm not done with Kiana. I'm gonna get her later. And then, oh my God, I love this from Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace, she started off really well and the intentions were there. I was like, oh, okay. It's like, Roxanne, sometimes, it's not about wins and losses. You gotta be great. You gotta be gracious and everything. And then it just was a downhill spiral. I'm like, girl, this is the wrong person to say this to.
Exactly.
And Roxanne pauses for a little bit. She's like, I thought she was going to be nice about it and then hit her. And she's like, no. She's like, girl, you're wrong. Bam, hits you in the face. And Ariana Grace just sold it perfectly. She's like, oh, my face.
Am I still pretty? Am I still pretty?
I was like, okay, I'm kind of here for this Ariana Grace character now. You sold me on this. At first, wanted to hate it so bad because I hate Miss Congeniality pageant type characters in general. But I was like, if this is the way that she's gonna go about this, I'm actually kind of here for it. And again, I love seeing Roxanne is actually pissed off. She's like, oh, I'm gonna get Kiana later. I was like, oh, I am so excited. I can't wait for that round.
Oh, I know, right?
Round 3, whatever round we're on with these two. Ugh, I'm so excited.
475.
I'm ready for it whenever. Okay. This segment really upset me because I was just like, this is, excuse my French, but we're long into it. This was fucking stupid. JCU and Out the Mud. I literally have in my notes next to the segment. What the fuck was this? What did I watch?
I don't, it was going great. And then it started to get a little muddy. And excuse the pun. And now it's like total bogged down. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on?
Our golden retriever boy of Duke is me this whole watching this whole entire segment. He's just like, what is happening?
And then I'm like, I don't know. It was stupid. And then you get the family involved.
This made no sense. At first, I was like, oh, she's going to tell them, nah, you can't do this. I was like, cool. Criminal warfare. I'm actually kind of here for it. And then Tony's like, yeah, it's cool. You can give Out the Mud. You can gamble a shot at our tag team titles for Out the Mud if you lose. I was just like, Tony, what crack?
What the hell?
I was like, what crack have you been smoking, bro? I was like, what?
Seriously, I didn't understand this whole sequence.
This was written so poorly, Will. I was just like,
it was so bad.
This was on par as like, I don't know if you're familiar with the internet, but this was on par as like a cheesy Darman skit. I was like, what the fuck is this? God. Talk about bad acting, bro. Don't show your students those videos.
No.
Horrible.
Oh, there was nothing to learn from it. Like I wouldn't show my students because there's literally nothing to learn from it. Not even not even like a lesson in bad acting. It was just the whole thing was useless.
This made no sense to me. I was just like, Andre Chase, like, and here's the other thing too. And this was my first instance of WWE needing, especially NXT, needing to be very careful of the language and the things they use too. because, and it may seem silly on paper, but Andre Chase has a gambling addiction, and that shit is real. Anybody who knows anyone who has either is going through or had a gambling addiction, you know how fucking crazy that could be.
And it does feel a little like we're making light of that.
Yeah, Andre Chase out here has a gambling problem, and Duke Hudson's like, bro, you need help, but we're using it as comedy. And again, you have to frame it in a way that you could still use it, but like there has to be a give and take, in my opinion. If you're going to use this as a motivator or a character choice, I am okay with it if you want to use it as a comedic and be a tee-hee ha-ha moment, but you have to balance it out. Like, we're
learn something.
Yeah, we're laughing about it right now. We're watching Andre Chase be a goofball, but there needs to be a serious consequence as of like an equivalent exchange, if you will.
Exactly. There has to be a payoff. We have to learn a lesson. You can't just play with it. You know, like, you can't just play with fire and hope it doesn't burn you. You know, like, you can't. I agree with you. I think that, you know, and NXT is really, I don't want to say they're really good at using things like this, because good is not the right word. But they do use these sort of things a lot. And for the most part, we don't learn anything afterwards. And I think that's a disservice to your audience. I think that's because, you know, right now, if you were watching it, you think gambling is super fun and you can do it with your friends and there's no consequences. Because there were no consequences there. We didn't see anything. You know, even it's like, oh, if I win, other than the 7 at the end, which for the most part, nobody understands what the hell that means unless you play the game. You know, it's like, oh, you got a 7, that's cool. It's like, no, it's really not cool. That's not a good thing. And I don't know. And again, the whole out of the mud. There was a lot not good in this scene. A lot not good in this scene.
No, and I don't know what's gonna happen, so I guess we'll have to stay tuned to figure this out. But from that downer of a moment, we get into, for me personally, this was my match of the night, just because of how fun. Yeah, it's okay, you could disagree with me. I really enjoyed this match for what it was. Now, how we started this off was weird, because this was originally supposed to be just Dragon Lee defending the title against whoever from Drew Gulak's crew it was going to be. It ended up being Charlie Dempsey. And then all of a sudden, Gallus comes out, and Joe Coffey wants a piece of this action. And Dragon Lee's like, fine, I'll take you both on, and then we get a triple threat match. I love this match, just from a technical standpoint. I also love the Wild Joe Gacy appearance. Again, apparently he has this weird obsession with Joe Coffey, and I'm kind of here with it. And when Joe Coffey was like getting pulled underneath the ring, kind of a little bit by Joe Gacy, it reminded me of the Scary Movie scene. This is like, dude, what is happening? She's trying to fuck me. It's like, bring your ass back. This was ridiculous. I loved it, but
that was funny.
I really enjoyed this match. From a technical standpoint, I thought this was great. There's a lot of fun action. I almost thought Dragon Lee got his head taken off in that Tower of Doom spot. I was like, oh, sir. But then I had to rewind it. Charlie Dempsey, MVP, he cradled that neck and he landed and like all the way through until Dragon Lee rolled out of the way for that. I was like, Charlie, good on you. But I really enjoyed this match. Of course, Dragon Lee retains the title. And we'll talk about everything that happened after the match. But it seems that Will disagrees with me just a tiny bit.
No, I don't disagree. I think this is a great... No, I don't disagree with you. I think this was probably, out of everything that happened this evening, this was probably the better one. So, I mean, if I'm having to pick one, this would be it. But I just, I felt that it was sloppy because, I mean, it's like, I get what we're doing. I get, Dragon Lee is going to defend his title from everybody, whatever. I get that. But I'm just like, I think by making it a triple threat, it just kind of dirtied it up a bit. And even though all three of them fought great, like they normally do, and it just felt a little, I don't know, just a little unclean. I don't know. It just felt weird to me. I mean, again, I think you're right. I think it is the better match of the evening. Like, it's the strongest match of the evening. But I don't know. There was just something. And yes, I loved Joe Gacy's appearance. That was fun. I love whatever the hell they're doing with him right now. So yeah. I mean, so I don't disagree with you at all. I just felt that the match was a little messy. That's all. I guess that's it. That's what, again, if I had to pick a match of the night, this would probably be the one. Well, it is the one. But I don't know. It just was messy, and I didn't like that.
I can see that.
I don't, I mean, you know what I mean? It just felt a little. It felt a little unorganized, a little unplanned. And I think that was supposed to be the whole point of it, but I don't know. When things like that happen, accidents tend to happen. And there was a moment that I sort of gasped, and that's when I think it was Dragon Lee had just hit Dempsey, then he hit Gallus, or not Gallus, but Joe Coffey, and then I think he slammed Dempsey, and then he sort of backed up and he stumbled over Dempsey, which I'm pretty sure wasn't planned. And I was a little like, ooh, and so that's what I'm saying. It just felt a little messy. And I don't know. I don't know. I just can't. Again, it wasn't a bad match. It was a good match. I thought all three of these men did amazing, and I thought, the match itself was really good. And again, I think it was the strongest match of the night. I just felt it was a little messy. That's it. That's all. I don't disagree with you.
I want you to disagree. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I don't disagree. It just felt a little messy.
That is fair. Speaking of things being messy, the beatdown that happened afterwards was also kind of messy. I was just like, man, Dragon Lee's about to get his butt whooped. And then coming for the same is Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde of the LWO coming in for the save to help Dragon Lee back up. Love the LWO. I love seeing Cruz and Joaquin back in NXT. Finally, we're giving these boys something to do, just instead of just being, side pieces.
Pretty to look at.
Well, pretty to look at, and side pieces to Rey Mysterio and the whole entire faction. But I'm excited. If this ends up leading to a feud between Drew Gulak and his crew versus the LWO, I'm all here for it. And yes, I will stare at the LW boys all day long too. It's like,
well, me too.
Love it.
Absolutely.
I have missed her presence so much because next backstage we get Cora Jade just being an absolute monster backstage and just basically being the mean girl of the NXT locker room. And I was just like, I love this character. I was just like, I see why Braun Breaker loves her and has to bring on that thing. Or at least like they're dating, so basically Cora Jade is just like, I'm back, bitches.
Yeah, it was funny.
She basically, like, before anyone can answer her, she's just like, no, I'm great. This is amazing. First step here is to reclaim my locker. And literally, without any hesitation, first she takes Carmen Petrovic's name tag, which, by the way, whoever designed the name tags for all the women in the locker room, I kind of want one for my desk at my job. Like, and I was just, and then I thought about it. I was like, if I could find one, we're gonna get Will one so he can put it on his office door. Like,
I totally would too.
So good. But Cora sees Carmen's thing, takes it off, throws it in the trash, and then the most disrespectful thing she could ever do is she takes Carmen's gi and just throws it on the floor. And I'm like, oh. I was like, anybody who knows anything about martial arts, like, knows that you do not throw your gi like it's another piece of clothing onto the floor. That thing needs to be hung because there is a sense of respect and honor that comes with it.
Right.
Shout out to our mutual friend Tony who taught me that. So I love it so much, but I was like, that is the most disrespectful thing. And what I also love too is that Gigi is not afraid. She's like, you know, Cora, you've been gone for 6 months. A lot has changed in this locker room. It's not the same as when you left. She's like, I don't care. Does the thing to Carmen. And what I loved is that Carmen comes in. She doesn't get scared. She's like, oh, hell no. Did Cora just do that? And Gigi's like, oh, don't worry. There's only one way to deal with mean girls like Cora. And then they just had a mutual understanding. Gigi and Carmen looked at each other. They're just like, oh, we're going to get her.
I love that Gigi is stirring this shit. It's like, of course she is. It's like, why wouldn't she be?
Yeah, she's just like, oh, no, I've been dealing with mean girls for the last couple of months, so I already know what we got to do here. We ain't going to waste time with this. And I love that Gigi is kind of taking Carmen underneath her wing with this one.
Yeah, that was fun.
Which I'm excited. Carmen and Coro is announced later in the bumpers for next week, so I'm really, really excited. This was great.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Speaking of things that were great, we get our second men's breakout tournament match, which is, I hate the outfit, but we have Luca Cruz. I hate his ring gear.
Oh my God.
I was like, listen, I know you want to go with the lawyer gimmick, but I was just like, the vest, the pants were fine, but it totally, I can't believe we're talking about fashion, but it clashed with the vest and the tie. It was really, really bad.
Totally did.
I was
like, who the hell put that together for you?
I was just like, this is horrible. I was like, if we're gonna go pinstripe pants, I was just like, yeah, no, we're good.
It should have been a black or blue vest.
Seriously.
That's beige. I was like, what the hell?
Listen, this is the NXT version of the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
And you know what else he didn't have? You know what else he didn't have? And shame on him or whoever dressed him. He didn't have a power tie.
Yes.
Why would you not have a power tie? He had some kind of bland bullshit around his neck. I'm like, you need to have a power tie.
You were wearing a Target, no shade to Target, but I was like, you're wearing like a Target tie for $10. I was like, sir, if you go and do that, at least go to Kohl's. Kohl's has some decently nice looking cheap ties. Shout out to Kohl's, because that's where I get most of my ties when I dress up anyway.
Exactly. But I was just like, who the hell dressed you, dude? You should fire them.
I was just like, this whole gimmick is like, it's not my cup of tea. I don't really like it.
Not either.
And then my attitude completely changed because then we get our second entrance. It was like, what a 180 from characters, man. Tavon Heights. I was just like, yo, this bro's already a star. Like within 5 seconds, he won me over just with the smile and him getting hyped for this match. I was just like, you go, Tavon. I'm here for you, man.
Yes, indeed. Holy goodness.
And Will, of course, is drilling over Tavon, which he should.
Yes. I just want to, like, cuddle up in those pits and just, like...
Again, here at the Biconics, we believe in being unashamed in what we do, and I'm so happy that Will is unashamed, just like the rest of us.
Not ashamed. That man's fine. He is fine.
Yeah.
I'm a married man, folks, and I would do things with him. My husband can watch.
I was not ready for... Oh, we're getting Fun Will. I love Fun Will. Fun Will is a great time to be have. Just like this match was. As much as I hated Luca's entrance gear, honestly, this was the Tavon Heights show for me. Luca got in some offense, but this really was to showcase Tavon, and Tavon is great.
Tavon whooped his ass from beginning to end. I was just like, he is whooping you, boy. I mean, he literally, like, from bell to bell, he was just on him constantly. And I was just like, See? Tell ya.
And of course, like we said, Tavon picks up the victory here, and he'll be moving on in the tournament. So, because of Tavion's win, as we saw later in the bumpers, we have our semifinal matches set. It's gonna be it's gonna be Thea Hale's love interest,
Mr. Osborne.
Mr. Osborne taking on Lexus King. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Tavion Heights versus Oba Femi. And that match is going to literally slap. That's a lot of meat in that ring.
Yeah, that is.
I'm excited.
Me too.
I was like, fire at the grill because I need to savor it.
Give me some of that.
Yes. Okay. Again, whoever worked on the narration and the writing and the video package for what we got next needs to get a raise, because Lord have mercy. Once again, just like they did with Lyra and Becky, we got a whole journey in this build up towards Lyra versus Blair at New Year's Evil, and I'm just like, this was so fucking good, Will. Holy crap.
It was. That's what I was saying. Like the two big promos we got tonight were fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Whoever, like I said, whoever wrote the Eddie Thorpe one, holy Jesus. Because it literally gave me chills. I was like, ooh. And it might be just because I'm so invested in this rivalry and want to see it come to its logical conclusion. I don't know, but I was literally like, oh, goosebumps. And then the cinematography of this Lyra one. Holy crap.
I want to know where Blair shot her part of the promo, because I was just like, listen, that is a theater and Gothic nerd's wet dream right there that she's in. I was like, listen, I want to go. Listen, we here at the Biconics, we're huge nerds. Like, I want to go visit it for the architecture. I want to be Gothic in that architecture wherever Blair was. More importantly, though, I want to play Dungeons and Dragons and wherever she was. Listen,
yeah, me too.
I was like, that is a perfect setting for a really weird Gothic one shot.
But the cinematography, the photography,
it was
camera
beautiful.
work for this is so good. I mean, good Lord, they were so well put together. This one and the Eddie Thorpe one were just so well done. So well done. Like, A++. Listen,
we got a whole journey. I really do love that for the audience, for anyone who wasn't aware of Blair's history. It's just like, and I love the narrator too. It's just like, Blair Davenport. I was like, yo, we got like an accent narrator. I'm like, I'm here for it. This is beautiful. This is great. This little promo made me so invested. I'm like, I'm so ready for this match at New Year's Eve between the two of them.
Me too.
Oh my goodness, it's gonna be so good.
Hell yeah.
Which then leads into a quick backstage segment. Lyra watches that. She's like, yeah, we did that. I was like, girl, you're doing great. And then who should come in but Miss Nikita Lyons? We're gonna talk about you, girl, because I'm always gonna say that. I was just like, this ring gear is. I was just like, girl, girl. But essentially, Nikita and Lyra briefly talk about, Tatum Paxley being weird. And I love Lyra's response. She's like, that girl has lost a couple of marbles. I was just like, yes, yeah. Lyra, acknowledge the weirdness. And Nikita's just like, I'm still going to get my hands on Blair at some point, but I'm going to go take care of this Tatum problem. And just so you know, once I take care of her and Blair, be ready, because I'm going to come for this title. And listen, Lyra versus Nikita is something I am here for whenever we get to it. Like, honestly, it'd be so good. Which, yeah, I'm excited for that. But before we get to this match, we get a quick backstage segment with our favorite lovable goofballs metaphor. They're so ridiculous.
I love them so much. I really do.
Honestly, they might be my favorite comedy act of NXT for 2024, especially leading into No Mercy when we had the Heritage Cup Invitational. Like, just the lounge was always, they were dressed in different pop culture costumes. It was ridiculous. But essentially, Metaphor talks trash about Josh Briggs, but ultimately no one bar accepts Josh Briggs' challenge, so we're getting a Heritage Cup championship match between Noam Dar and Josh Briggs next week. So we'll talk about the other half of this because I am very interested. I was like,
me too.
The seeds are plotting. Like, we're plotting some stuff. It's going to be great. But first, let's talk about this match. I wasn't sure how good it was going to be on paper. I was pleasantly surprised. I knew Nikita was great, but holy crap, Tatum did that. Tatum.
Yeah.
I need to find Tatum's entrance music because I was just like, oh my gosh, it's reminding me of my emo days in middle school. Like, that theme song her entrance music kind of slaps.
Yeah, I agree.
And I love the fact that she has one of Lyra's feathers and is being so creepy about it. Like Hey Arnold shrine in the corner of the ring. I was just like, oh, I'm kind of here for this now.
I am.
I was like, Joe Gacy and Tatum need to become a tag team, like now.
Exactly.
This match ruled. I loved it so much.
Did. I loved this match.
One of my favorite things about this match, though, is that as soon as I watched it, it's like, oh, Will's going to be introduced to how Nikita Lyons does her finisher. I was like,
I loved it. Oh, my God.
One girl just does the splits onto.
That was fantastic. Oh, my God.
I was like, sit on my face. What?
I know. It was like, hello. All right, girl. All right. I'm here for it. Yeah, that was wild.
It really was. And I would like to take a moment to eat crow for a little bit. When Nikita Lyons first debuted at NXT, I was not about her because I was just like, girl, that is not ring gear. We are barely holding on. Like, plastic clips and almost like a Selena S. Bustier is not a ring gear. When she first debuted, but this ring gear I'm kind of here for, and now I'm kind of behind it. I was like, yes, I gotta support the curvy queens here. This was a fun match. Nikita killed it. Tatum actually has won me over. I was like, in this one match alone, I am here for this character. And I thought this was fantastic.
It was so good.
It was fun.
It really was. It was just fun.
And again, most of my enjoyment this week's episode came from the women. Like, the women killed it.
Yeah.
Once again, the women are killing it. And I'm kind of happy that the women are the ones receiving the better writers, but I would like to also see the men do it sometime, so we'll see what happens. But from here, backstage, we still have no official tag team name for them, but we are going to call them the Coyote Uglies because they're all country strong.
Yeah.
So the Coyote Uglies are backstage. First is Josh and Brooks talking about, everything that has transpired in the night. And Fallon comes in with the towel. She's like, oh, I'm getting my hands on Tiffany. I'm going to beat a bitch's ass later. And that's what I want to see. Fallon's just like, oh, hell no. I'm going to kick her ass. I'm going to kick Tiffany's ass later. And then as soon as she leaves, this is where it gets interesting for me. Because we get like this weird kind of heart-to-heart where Brooks is like, look, man, you got this Heritage Cup championship match next week. And, Metaphor is going to be pulling their shenanigans. So, you know what? Me and Fallon are going to be there to even the odds. And then there was a pause. And then I was like, oh, Josh is about to break some hearts right now. And sure enough, Josh did it. He's like, look, man, I appreciate it. I love both of you. But I can't really explain it to words. But I was like, the trick Williams effect is taking a hold of the locker room because he's like, I got to do this one on my own. But I appreciate it. And then we lingered as Josh leaves on Brooks just looking devastated. I was like, please don't let it be a breakup angle. I can't handle any more breakups this year.
I know. That's what it feels like, though.
I was like, not a breakup angle. But I'm very interested, and we'll see if Brooks actually does stay in the back. Or if he does come out, is he going to end up helping or hindering Josh? We are going to have to see to figure this out. But I'm here for the drama in the Coyote Uglies.
Yeah, me too.
And
totally.
It's really crazy. I was like, Josh Briggs must have did something right because he's getting pushed Like he's been consistently on television the last couple of weeks, from everything leading into Deadline to having a phenomenal showing at Deadline. Like we said in our review, shameless plug, go check that review out. He was so standout in that Iron Survivor match.
Yeah, he was.
Like he went toe to toe with everyone, and again, we also saw in that match a beautiful moonsault from him. I was like, this is a big boy. And he is killing it. Man, I'm excited to see what happens. This is going to be a lot of fun. Oh. And then, speaking of fun, the next tag team match was also a lot of fun. I was like, our poor himbos are going to get destroyed. But I love our little Rottweiler himbo team of Hank and Tank. Yeah. I was just like, they look like two mechanics thought they'd decide to wrestle, because that's what their shirts were like. They were like mechanic shirts.
Yeah, they are. But that's funny.
I love our little himbos. So Hank and Tank take on the Gallus boys, which is Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. This was a fun match as well. Of course, Hank and Tank get their ass beat.
Yeah, they do.
God
bless them.
I need those two and Duke Hudson to be a tag team, and they're just like, ugh, my three himbos, I love you so much. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, there's nothing really to say. They tried, they did their best, and I appreciate they did their best, but Gallus boys whooped their ass. And
whooped their butt.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, you know, I'll say it was not pretty obvious that they were going to whoop their butts, but I mean, I knew they were going to whoop their butts.
But I was entertained that they whooped their butts.
I was totally entertained by it. Yeah. So I was like, okay, cool. At least they lost like well. You know, it wasn't like you lost instantaneously because the Gallus boys are just too good. But no, I mean, and I have to also say for this one, oh my God, when the Gallus boys were making their entrance, Joe Coffey, remember he was like looking around, like, because he was coming at the end.
He's just like, all right, Casey, where you're at. All right, we're good. All right, let's continue.
That was so, even when you were out front doing their thing, he was like,
he's having the effect of just like, she's trying to mess with me. Get your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Get your ass.
I loved it.
Like, oh my God. Oh, it was so good.
Oh,
but yeah, they got their butts whooped. God bless them.
They tried.
Yeah, they did. God bless.
I was entertained though.
I was entertained. It was super fun.
Yay.
And then of course we see him up in the stands too.
I love it. We love to see it. Whatever's going on between Joe Gacy and the Gallus boys, specifically Joe Coffey, I don't know. And in a weird way, I was just like, kiss. What?
I know, me too. I was like, I want y'all to make out.
I was like, both of you are rugged. I don't know what's happening. I might be questioning myself right now. But you know what? We're going to roll with it.
Yeah. I am not questioning myself. I am saying absolutely.
Yes.
I want them to make out.
Yes.
And I wouldn't mind being involved.
I mean, again, here at the Biconics, we are honest with our feelings, and I would not be either. From here, though, we get the second half of what Eddy threw down earlier in the night, and Dijak also kind of threw down the same thing. This segment from Dijak was also pretty good, too.
It was. It wasn't bad.
I really appreciate that he has, like, his tools of torture on the table he was sitting at. I was like, I don't know what we're going for, but I was like, I'm kind of here for it. And then, of course, I love me an obligatory at this promo by shoving the camera in one direction. It's like, basically, Dijak promises that Eddy Thorpe is going to get his butt whooped and that he better be prepared because this is going to be a nasty fight. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be a nasty fight. I'm here for it.
Yes, I am. I want this is a fight that I have been wanting to happen since this all began.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the fight that needs to happen. And I'm so glad that we got here, you know, because this whole thing has been pissing me off. You know, just Eddy Thorpe just constantly getting his ass kicked. Even when he wins, he gets his ass kicked. And I'm just like, enough is enough. You're bullying my cute little Native American boy, and I need you to stop. Now I need him to, like, stand tall up on a mountain and throw rocks at you. So this better damn well be what this match is. But whatever it is, it's going to be fucking amazing.
It is too. So from here, this goes into the second instance of, like, maybe we should pick different language, because Tiffany, listen, I love Tiffany, and I am unapologetically a Tiffany Stratton stan. We love Barbie Quinn in this household.
Yes, we do.
Me and Will love Tiffany. However, we got very close to saying some really messed up stuff.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Because I was like, oh, we being classist? I was just like, what is this? We're in 2023, Tiffany. Whoever's writing this, I was like, we got to pick different language, because this was giving me imperialism. Like, this was giving me, like, very old school Hollywood classism. I was just like, but essentially, this whole entire thing, Tiffany is just like, listen, Fallon. I was just like, I don't have to work hard because I'm that girl. And people like you have to serve me for a living. It was crazy. I don't know how to feel about this, Will. We got very close for Tiffany to say some really messed up stuff, because we're talking about the lower class and the working class. And I can see both sides. Like, Tiffany's character, she is basically like the rich daddy's girl, and I totally get that. However, I need NXT writers to choose better language, because this was on the verge of what we classism. I was just like, holy crap. I was like, this is very pointed. I don't know how I feel about this.
And I think, when you got to be, and I agree with you, I think they need to be careful, not only in the words that they choose, but, like, how they say them. Because, like, when she was saying, you'll be my servant, it was feeling a lot like, you're gonna be my slave.
I low-key was waiting for it to pop out. I was like, ooh, we're getting very dangerously close to that.
I mean, it really, even the way she said it, it felt like that's what she meant. And I was just like, ooh, okay, all right. You didn't say it, but it felt that way. But I think we need to be careful with that. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I get Tiffany's character. I do get it. I totally get she's, the spoiled rich kid. Daddy's credit card, and anyone who doesn't have what she has is less than she is. I get that. I get what you do. But I think I think there's just lines that tend to get a little blurry sometimes. We get right to that line, and it's like, ooh. I was like, why even go to the line? Don't go to the line. Come on. She can be a spoiled rich bitch and not go there. I mean, seriously. I mean, because one, it's kind of insulting to, and again, I get characters and all that. But you still have to be very careful in this day and age. I mean, the idea of talking down to the working class, without the working class, your character wouldn't be where she is. So, show a little damn respect, bitch. That sort of thing. So, but yeah, I agree with you. I thought it got a little close to some good old-fashioned classism.
Yeah, this was also a weird feeling promo, which ultimately sets up that at New Year's Evil, these two are going to fight it out. And if Fallon loses, she's going to have to, again, this basically turned into, like, indentured servitude is essentially what's on the line here. And if Fallon loses, she becomes an indentured servant to Tiffany. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Me either.
Which means that if the stipulation is up, unfortunately, I think that means that Fallon's losing this match.
Yeah. And yeah, I know. But I No, it doesn't actually. It makes me feel a little icky, not gonna lie. Because of what was said. But okay. Well, I mean, we'll see where it goes, and we'll just take it as it comes. We'll just okay. Let's hope for the best, expect the worst. How about that?
Yeah, expect the worst, but hope for the best. I'm here for all of that.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, from here, we get our bumpers, and then this goes into the biggest what the wank is happening right now, because this main event was not even like 5 minutes long. I can't even talk about the wrestling because that's not the important bit here. The wrestling was fine, sure, whatever.
Yeah. And it wasn't even all that great, to be honest.
No! And then I was like, I have so many questions because the match gets stopped because Ilya is like not being responsive. Like he is like favoring like his shoulder and his neck area. Like we're playing off like it's a serious injury. So the ref has to stop the match and then we bring out the medical team. And then Ilya gets put on a stretcher and then he has to be carried out. And that's how we go off the air. So there are many things that I did not like about this whole entire match/segment. And I'm gonna start off with the first one and then I'm gonna go on my tangent because I'm kind of pissed for Ridge in this case. And I'm gonna explain why. So, I was just like, you are supposed to have Ilya and Trick fight in 2 weeks. Why are we playing this injury storyline? This makes no sense to me. Like, where's the end path? Where's the goal? Is this going to become a triple threat now between Ridge and Trick? I was like, no, because Trick earned his title shot by being the Iron Survivor. It makes no sense. But my biggest gripe with this whole thing is in terms of how we're playing this, that Ridge injured Ilya during this match. And I'm not happy about it because of everything that has already happened to Ridge. So to give a little bit of context to Will, wasn't here in the dark ages. That was the main roster of 2022. So Ridge Holland had a match against another wrestler on the main roster by the name of Big E. So Big E is part of the New Day, which is like an all African American trio, which they're really great. They're funny. They're nerds. I love them. But there was a spot that went wrong in which Ridge threw Big E the same way he threw Ilya, and Big E ended up landing on his head during the match. Now, this led to Big E having to be out for almost a long time and almost got paralyzed in the middle of that match because how he landed wrong on his head. But it was a complete accident, right?
Right.
Unfortunately, the internet is not so nice, so Ridge had to actually like turn off his social media and like deleted his accounts because he was getting death threats, everything. So Ridge was bullied off the internet and this man was being told he needs to go himself. And
are you kidding?
yes, so that was bad. And so it gets worse. So fast forward to a couple months ago, him and Butch are having a match on SmackDown against Pretty Deadly. And again, another accident happens where one of the Pretty Deadly boys gets hurt, and the internet once again goes after Ridge because Ridge is considered unsafe. What makes me frustrated is that this is not a real injury, but we're playing that Ridge injured Ilya. And I was like, this man has already had 2 accidents happening prior to this, and we're using this as a storyline, knowing how much Ridge had to deal with the last 2 instances when accidents in the ring happened. I was like, no ma'am, I am not happy. I hate this storyline. And just because it's a stupid overused trope, but more importantly, I don't like that we're using Ridge in this way, especially since he already went through 2 pretty traumatic real life instances where he felt bad and accidents happened in the ring. Like Big E and Elton Prince of Pretty Deadly, they both have come out saying it was an accident. Everyone needs to chill. Like everyone needs to calm down. But I don't like using that real life stuff in this storyline, especially because Ridge has been involved with real life accidents like that. And that's what frustrates me about this whole thing. And now that Will has this context, I'm gonna let him chime in now that he is given this information. because it changed a whole lot of how I viewed this.
You know, it's funny because when Ilya, Ilya was, they were messing with Ilya, and he was over in the corner. I mean, when he was like, the way he was reacting, I was like, man, this is really like realistic. I was like, wow, this is like he was like committed I mean, just the way he was looking and the way he was expressing. And I mean, it was like, I was like, wow. I was like, all right. And now that I know, I mean, why would he even agree to this? It's like, I mean, is it just for like publicity? Is that what this is? I mean, because in the entertainment world, there's no such thing as bad press. But I'm like, now that I know what all the previous stuff that happened, I mean, it changes my view on it too. I mean, it's like, why would you do this? I don't understand why you would, and I don't understand why Ridge would want to be a part of it, considering the real life stuff that happened to him. I mean, because, if I had not read ahead a little bit, I would have thought that this was a legitimate injury. Like, it was legit. I would have. I didn't, because because at first I was like, oh, okay, that happened, but I didn't see anything happen in the match that would have caused that type of injury. So I was like, okay, so immediately I was already on this is not a real injury, but then they were playing it so realistically heavy that I was like, well, maybe he did hurt himself. Maybe he did. Maybe I need to go look and see what's going on here. So then I read ahead a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay. But I didn't know any of that.
It changes the perspective a little bit.
It changes it a whole lot. Not a little bit. It changes it a whole lot. Because, again, I'm like, and Booker T, and then they were talking about Ilya when they were talking about the whole, Trick and Carmelo thing. He's like, oh, do you think he actually did? And, Booker T was like, no, Ilya's a man of integrity. And I was like, I totally believe that. And now I'm just like, why would you do, I don't understand it now. Now that I know what all the shit that happened prior, why would you go along with that? Like, and I'm talking to Ridge on this one. It's like, why would you want to go along with that? I mean, especially if it mentally destroyed you, or whatever. I mean, why would you want to do that again? Why would you want to relive that? I don't understand why you'd want to relive that.
Right.
Honestly, I don't understand that.
And I agree with you on this too, in honesty. I think in a perfect world, if Ridge and Ilya, specifically Ridge, was presented with this idea, in a perfect world, Ridge would say, absolutely not. I'm not doing this. Yeah. I'm not going to. And this is where we kind of get, not even the dark side of the professional wrestling business, but just some of the icky parts. Sometimes you are given a storyline, and if you want to keep your job, you kind of have to go through with it. And I'm not saying it's right. Absolutely not. Not by any means. Unfortunately, though, and this is the only downside of being a wrestling fan that I never want anyone to experience, but sometimes the wrestlers just kind of have to do it. Otherwise, they could not get television time, and they get stuck in backstage all this time. I'm not saying it's right, but I don't know. I don't like how this was presented to us to begin with.
I mean, you could see the pain and fear on Ridge's face. That's why I was like, wow, this is so good. I was like, wow, they're really playing this. And now I know why, because he's reliving his past trauma on television. That's not right. So shame on NXT producers, shame on them for making that man relive that trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And shame on them for making, Ilya go along with it. I'm sorry, but that's some BS. No way. Don't be playing with people's trauma. Trauma is a real thing. And I know a lot of people think, when they hear PTSD and things like that, they're like, grow up, suck it up. It's like, bitch, trauma's real. That shit really happens. I'm sorry that you live in your perfect little world, which isn't perfect because you saying something like that comes from trauma, just so you know. And I'm sorry. Now that I know, this match makes me feel gross. And now I feel horrible for Ridge. I feel absolutely horrible for him. This should never have happened. This match should never have happened.
No, and this is one of the few instances, because it rarely happens, but this is one of the few instances where I have to look at Shawn Michaels and NXT. I was just like, what? I don't even want to know. I don't want to hear you explain to me where the end goal of this. I was just like, this was done in really poor taste. Don't care about it. I am so not here for it because of what it's doing to Ridge, what it does to Ilya, and then as a weird byproduct too, what
Trick.
Trick as well. I was like, where does this go with Trick? I was like, you just had him have an amazing moment at Deadline, and this kind of throws a wrench into what's happening. So I don't know. Obviously,
and plus it was like it seemed like they were treating it like some sort of serious neck injury.
I hated it.
You don't recover from that in a week.
No, I hated this so much.
It was so bad. Now that I'm looking, now that I know the truth, now I'm just like, this is dumb. This is so bad. This should never have happened.
No.
I actually feel the worst for Ridge Holland.
Agreed. Absolutely. And that's why this entire segment really soured me on NXT, the way that we ended this. And that's kind of why the majority of the bad rating came from this segment. That's why I gave this week's NXT like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It was at a 7 or 8 because there were still some questionable things, but I enjoyed it. But just because of this last match and everything that transpired in it, and even the post stuff after the match with Ilya being carried out on a stretcher, I absolutely hated it, especially since we're playing off of something that Ridge has expressed that really, really made him feel bad. The man felt guilty for what happened to Big E for the longest time, and he finally just forgave himself for what happened, because Big E had forgave him a long time ago, but it took Ridge so long to forgive himself, and we're using that as an angle? Nah, NXT, I'm sorry. I can look past some of the things that we throw at the wall to see what sticks, but this is not one of them. So this is why I gave 6.5 out of 10 for this week's NXT. This main event segment really, really soured me this week.
It's funny because originally I was going to give this night like a 7.5, but now, no, absolutely not. I'd give this a 5, and it's because of this. Because this should be a lesson for all you people out there. This is why you do not, and this is coming from a professor of theater. When we talk about, pulling from emotional places and, relive, we don't want you to relive trauma. Don't live in trauma. Don't do that. Because it's dangerous and it's not healthy. This was a pure lesson in why you should not relive your trauma. Because that man looked scarred. He looked absolutely terrified. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just an act. It's just an act. Not necessarily, my friends. Because that's how trauma works. You were reliving your trauma. You're reliving it. You're not just using the emotion from it. You are literally right back there, exactly where you were, living every single little moment of it. So, I'm sorry, Shawn Michaels, this was a big negative. This should never have been this. I'm sorry. Now knowing what happened in the past, absolutely not. This was completely fucking disrespectful. Completely. To Ridge Holland, completely disrespectful. So, yeah, I gave it a 5, and now it dropped to a 5 because of this. So,
Yeah. So, unfortunately, this episode's done. We don't have to talk about it anymore. Unfortunately, we are going to have to see what comes of all this, what happens, whatever. But regardless, me and Will be here next week for the penultimate NXT before New Year's Eve. And funny enough, we will be back next week because we will be covering the final NXT for 2023. So it's crazy. But if you enjoyed this review, despite all the crazy stuff that we talked about, you can check out other Los Chicos Gordos reviews as well as other stuff here at the Biconics YouTube channel. You can also follow us all over the social medias at BC WrestlePod, and you can make sure to subscribe to us wherever your favorite podcasts are to the Biconics Wrestling Podcast. Remember, and I truly mean this with every fiber of my being, as I always say at the end of all the reviews here, remember, take care of yourself, make sure you love one another. Seriously, that's the important bit here. And of course, as always, stay Biconic, you beautiful bastards. From myself and Will and the rest of the Biconics boys, we look forward to seeing you for the next review. But until then, signing off. Ta-ta for now.